everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today's video we are doing the June bullet journal spreads, which I have sketched out here. The theme is Mediterranean Summer Mosaic. So all of these little doodles and designs are based off of a pattern that I found on Pinterest. Somebody else made this pattern and I'm just incorporating different elements to turn it into a full bullet journal theme. I liked the colors, I liked the design, and now that the weather is like sort of warming up, I figured it was perfect for the beginning of summer slash spring here in Canada. So without further ado, let's get into this week's video. Something that we're gonna do a little bit differently this time around is there's gonna be minimal line work, and the line work that I am doing is gonna be in a 3 micron so that it's less noticeable with the colors that I'm doing. I have the 4 colors picked out over here, if you could not already see and guess. But the design that I'm following has no line art at all. You know, I kind of had to do line art for this part and the calendar. Well, you know, not the calendar, but this part for sure. So I was like, I may as well include some line art throughout and keep the design parts lineless. So that will be the major difference this time around. And that's why I've skipped all the way over here to the mood and habit tracker, because this is where I have to do most of the line art. Since I was following a pattern, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for the mood and habit tracker, and I decided in the end to combine them into one page. So in the center, I have the habit tracker, where if you do one of the habits, you fill in, you know, one of the 4 corners, and then around the outside is the mood tracker. You just fill in one of the squares with the appropriate colors. This way I was able to do a small calendar, and I think it just helps balance out the designs versus the line art, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not too heavy on the design on either spread. I don't know how to describe it any better than it just balances itself really nicely. So I'm happy that I made that choice. All right, I'm gonna zoom you right in here, and we're gonna start with part 1 of the pattern, which I'm using this dark blue for, and it's those like blue and white tiles is what the pattern is gonna be from. Of course, I guess supposed to be from. I don't know exactly what the designs mean, but we're gonna do our best with the bullet tip part of this brush. Okay, so you're zoomed in, and I'm gonna start by just putting a dot in the center of where I wanna be, and then we'll go out from almost the corner and make a leaf shape, kind of like that. And we'll do that in all 4 corners in the X direction. And then in the plus direction, we'll draw a little line. It doesn't have to be centered. And there we go. Now you can do whatever pattern you want that you see online, that you have pictures of if you've ever visited. I'm just doing this because it's nice and simple. And then we just repeat that for every single square. So I'm using a 4x4 square area, starting with the circle, and then we'll make this leaf shape in all 4 X directions before adding the plus lines. And there's another one done. So now we're just going to continue this pattern for the rest of the squares that I have marked out here. Okay, so now that we've got that blue pattern part finished, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with the different colors for each piece of the pattern. So if there's certain elements that you know you want to be one color, then I would start with those ones. For example, these are going to be blue. This lobster is going to be my reddish orange color, so I'll probably do that one next. But each design I'm just going to lighten with the kneaded eraser first, and then I'll go in with the marker over top before fully erasing the completed design. So we're literally just going to repeat this on every single page. So let's get into it. So as you can see, I just go one object at a time, lightly lighten it with my kneaded eraser, and then go in with the marker to fill it in. Again, starting with the objects that I know what color I want them to be, and then moving on to the other miscellaneous shapes that can be a different color interchangeably. So the lobster obviously is going to be a reddish color, my lemons are going to be yellow, and my leaves are going to be green. And that just helps with color distribution, I find, in the end, and I'll talk a little bit more about that further into the video. Okay, so this is what the title page looks like, all finished with all the pencil erased, all the colors distributed on everything. And now we just need to repeat this like 17,000 more times for the rest of the spreads. So I probably will just time lapse this because it is exactly the same thing again and again and again and again and again. Before we get into the remaining time lapse of this video, I just want to say that some of this I accidentally forgot to film, but again, it is pretty repetitive, so it's probably okay that you don't see all of it. Now, what I was saying about the color distribution being even is that typically you don't want too much of the same color in one area. Obviously, if that's the way you want to do it, there's nothing wrong with that. But just to balance designs, you usually want to have a good mix between the colors so that everything is not exactly the same in the same spot. So I have my things balanced out based on what I start with. So what I mean is if my lobster is going to be red, I know that the object next to it also should not be red. So I have my crustaceans all at the top here. They're all red, but every single border is going to be a different color. So I wouldn't do a red border with something that is red on the inside. And same with this palm tree and the lemons and leaves. My border is not going to be the same color as the object that I'm putting inside of it. And at the same time, I also don't want to overload the color too much. This spread is a very bad example of that because I didn't do the best job of spacing the colors out, but it was a little bit difficult too with these long vertical boxes. It's much easier to see this in the next couple of spreads. So here I'm starting with those blue and white tiles. I know I want them to be blue and white, and then I'm moving on to the next thing that I know what I want the color to be, which happens to be this box with little wave symbols around the outside. Is it a little too close to the blue and white tiles for comfort? Yes, but I didn't realize that until I started coloring it in. So typically I would have moved that somewhere else. Now we're moving on to the other elements that I know what color I want them to be. Based on the pattern I was following, this design was like a green leafy border with like red around the outside. And then that helped break up some of the green leaves that I'm there adding the lemons to. So we're going to use that same concept as we continue through the rest of the spreads here, starting with what I know. In this case, there's a lobster, some leaves, some lemons, some of these tiles, and then the borders. They can all be different colors. It does not matter. They don't have to be the same depending on what design you use, and you will see that that changes throughout. The only reason I keep the green and red one the same is because that was part of the pattern I'm following. So I've evenly distributed the colors, I think, pretty well on this spread. So there's not two yellow things touching each other. There's not two green things touching each other. The closest I come is those waves to that blue border and then the lemon border with those blue and white tiles. And otherwise, I think everything is really evenly separated. I don't have a very good mix of colors in terms of like tone. Like I think that's the word I'm looking for. Like I don't have light colors, a mid-tone, and then like a darker one. They're all kind of the same tone. So if I was concerned about contrast, I would be concerned about those colors. But in this case, I just want them all to be bold so that it draws your eyes everywhere on the page and focuses on those designs. And that's also why I did the line art in such a faint color so that, again, the focus is on the designs. So this page, even though there are horizontal boxes, I think I did a slightly better job redistributing the colors, and I don't know how I managed that because I did this exactly the same way as I did the other vertical spread one, but whatever. And then finally, this last spread is just using those two main elements that you've seen repeated again and again and trying to use all four of the colors in the page. Then finally, I'm going in with that same number 3 micron and writing in the day and number of the week in every single little box. And I'm keeping it all consistent, again, just to not draw too much attention to anything other than the designs. And that's kind of how this whole thing went. And with that last little bit of line art, we are finished with the June bullet journal spread. So here is the final flip through. I think it's kind of funky. I like the way that most of these spreads turned out, in particular the ones where it's like all color and very little line art, like these ones. I just think that they're cool, and it's like not something that I've really done before. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on usually Mondays or Wednesdays, kind of whenever I have time, and I try to do that about twice a month. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you all in the next video.